Good morning. How are you? Let's do that. All right. Well, it looks a little loud. Okay. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to bump it down just a little bit there. Hopefully that will look a little better for you. We have kind of a new setup, so I'm interested to see how it's sounding for you. Ideally, the music should be louder and the microphone should be adequate, which might mean that I have to adjust my voice. But we'll see. Okay, we spent a lot of time the other day setting all this up, so welcome to our live stream, everyone. As usual, on Thursdays, we switch back and forth between lifting and stretching and Pilatesing, and we've got some Swiss ball classes coming up next. But today, we're going to do a full body stretch along with a meditation at the end, and maybe a little in the beginning. I don't know about you, but the energy of spring brings us in kind of full throttle into this season, and then we have this moment where it's almost like that exhaustion before summer rolls in. And so our intentions today are really to try to just take a pause, take a beat. Thanks for all the sound information, everybody. So as we take that pause and beat, we're going to use a small ball or pillow just to do a little back bending. And then I also have a TheraBand today, and I just couldn't find my yoga strap in time with all these connections and hookups. So if you have a belt, a towel, a strap, something that will allow you to just kind of help yourself out with some of the stretching, then I will invite you to have that nearby. Yeah, music is softer. Thank you, Colleen. I would love the music to be a little louder, so I'm gonna bump it up a little bit, because this is the thing with all of the stuff. How does that sound? Oh wow, Paul, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Paul. Congratulations on the 60 landmark. That's no small feat. All right, let me know how this one sounds, and we'll start to go from here. So we're gonna begin at the edge of our mat, just getting ourselves down into the ground with a bit of care and consideration and calm too, all right? So we will take our props, we'll have them off to the side, by the way. The big palm is in the center now. This was like encroaching on this environment, so I don't know if it's got the right sunlight here, but for right now, I'm here for it. I hope you are too. Thanks, Colleen. All right, so stand with your legs hip-width distance apart, and let's just take a moment to arrive in this position. So that means dropping down into your heels, letting the weight of your heels just be grounded into the mat, reaching up through the crown of your head. And then let's take a moment to look over your right shoulder, just seeing where your stretch is, your rotation is through your neck, and then look over your left shoulder. And right now we're just noticing if there's anything that is feeling a little stuck or resisted. Good. Come back to center, look all the way up to the sky. Look down to the ground. And one more time up. And as we look all the way down, let's start to bring your upper body forward and just rounding your shoulders over. Bend your knees as much or as little as you need to as we come towards the ground. Letting your head hang over and just investigating that first stretch of our lower back. Good. Let's bend our knees a little bit, and then we'll stretch them up a little more. And we'll do this 3 more times, just a little bend. This is your chance to breathe into your back, to open up that space. Bending, lifting your hips, pouring out through the crown of your head. And one more time. Good. Keep your legs as straight or as bent as you like, and let's start to roll up through your spine. All the way to our standing position. We're going to take the hands around to your low back. Press your hips forward, chest on the ceiling. Open up your heart. Breathe. Good. Come back to center. Reach your arms down by your sides. We're going to round the spine, curl the tail under, reach your arms forward. Full disclosure, I've got a very tight low back today, so we're gonna spend some time opening up that low back for me. Then from here, take your hands on your knees and extend your spine. Lift your tail up, lift your chest up. Get a nice long stretch. Round your back. Curl your tail under, reach your arms forward, stretch between your shoulder blades. It's like you're making a little C shape with your body. And then go in the opposite direction, chest out, hips out, reach out, lengthen. And again, rounding, just get nice and warm, stretch. Let's do one more time to extend your spine, stretch your hips, stretch your chest, lift your tail. And then from here, go ahead and bend your knees down, make your way down onto hands and knees. We're gonna take a little bit of an off-kilter cat-cow. So move your right hand off to the side, move your left hand really close to it here so you feel that left side opening up, and then let's round your spine. So we should feel more stretch on the side of the hand that's maybe closer to midline or maybe a little in front of the other one. And then let's arch your back and look up. Good, and again, rounding. Pushing down through your shins, through your palms, getting connected to your mat or to the floor. And reaching, looking over your shoulder. Good. One more time, rounding up. And then from the round, sit back over your left hip. So your arms can stay or they can reach longer. And we're just reaching that hip over to that left side, opening up lots of space in the back. Taking a couple of breaths into that left lung, just trying to facilitate a little more open, a little more stretch. Good. Let's press down through your shins, lift through your abdomen, come back to center, and then we'll walk over to the other side. So take your left hand over, your right hand on top. We round the spine. And we arch the back, just finding those little tense moments and doing what you need to do. Rounding the spine again. Arching your back. And a couple more rounding. Just allowing your breath to come in and help open you up. Last one, round up as much as you can, and then take your seat over to the same side of that you're stretching. Think of breathing into the length of that crescent or half moon shape. Good. Press through your shins, lift through your abdomen. Come back to center. Take your hands nice and wide on your mat and then round again. And arch. Good. Feel free to wiggle your tail any amount, just trying to find that openness. Good. And last one. And reach. All right, so come back to center in this position. We're only on hands and knees for one more moment here. We're gonna take your left hand forward and your right arm out. We're making an L shape. At the same time, we're sitting back to your heels. So you're just gonna shoot one arm out, shoot the other arm forward, and then press through your shins to lift yourself up. And this is an active stretch, so we're actively moving. Reaching long and wide, lifting up through center. You're using your core support to change position. So I'm pushing down through my shins, lifting up through my abdomen. Hands are light, and then we go to the other side. Maybe you like to turn your head to look at that wide arm. Coming back to center. My lower back is hurting because of this damn tree, by the way. It's like, good. Reach. Yeah, sore from weightlifting. Me too, Tracy. This is the best way to recover. This I definitely made a point to put in a few more recovery classes just so we could not forget about this part. Let's go one more time. Good. All right, come back to center. Go ahead and transition off of your hands and knees. Take a moment away from there. Let's get our ball, and we're gonna place the ball right between kind of the bottom base of your shoulder blades, where it feels like it's lifting you up, where your head and neck aren't strained, but they're just kind of resting in this position. We're gonna do some back bending over the ball, so if you wanna just fiddle around with the positioning, that'll work wonderfully. Let's take your hands behind your head, and then let's lift up and go back. So while you're just paying attention to some of the sensations that you're feeling, we're gonna go between a curl forward. Don't worry about the abs too much. They're gonna work for you. You don't have to make this harder than it needs to be. And we're reaching back and just kind of massaging the space between the shoulder blades. While we're doing this, I'd love for you to consider, and please don't take time away from your stretch right now, but just thinking in your brain, and I'll ask you again to put your comments in the chat, some of the subjects that you'd like to cover that maybe deepen our experience for health and well-being or movement in general. So things that you have questions about, whether it's nutrition or mindfulness, things of that nature. Let's do a couple more. I want to know what you're curious about because I'm curating some content to come in and be here with you beyond the movement, so to speak. Good. All right, let's come up. Now you can use your hands down here a little wider, and then let's take our knees over to the side. You're just taking them as far as you can maintain your upper body shape, and then come back to center, and then we'll go to the other side. Now my hips are heavy, and I'm just thinking about, like, if the backs of my legs were kind of made of dough, I would be kneading the dough. And let's face it, they kind of are. Good. Reaching across. This is just the first kind of gentle twist. We'll do one more in each direction with the legs. If you've got it, and you know, this is just a little less stable with your hands behind your head, so you can do what you need to do. Good, we'll take the hands behind the head again. Support your head now. Lean it back over the top. Now, if your head can touch gently and easily, let it rest here. We're gonna take the arms up to the sky. We wanna be working with the least amount of tension around our neck and shoulders as possible. So if you've got a pillow, or you need a pillow, or you need to keep one hand back there and do just single arms, that's okay. We're just gonna open up the arms. Oh my God. And then when you lift your arms back up, sink your spine back into the ball. Now I'm gonna maneuver just a little bit more. Sometimes there's a better space for us. So right now my lower back is lifted off the mat. There's that big cushion of the ball right between the shoulder blades, and the arms are opening and closing. And breath is flowing and supportive. Let's do one more. We're gonna reach the arms wide. Now stay here for a moment and just give a little snow angel reach up overhead as far as you like, and then down by your hips. See if you can keep your palms facing the ceiling. Too many things in my way. As you go between one and the other. Big stretch up overhead. Big reach all the way down. Let's go one more time. I'm gonna reach up. And then all the way down, good. And then from here, if you've got a ball, just kind of walk yourself forward until the ball comes underneath your neck, and you can just let your head rest on it for a moment. Take your head from side to side. it's nice to be able to just kind of wiggle out the neck for a moment after we do those exercises. Good. And then when you're here, getting a little, there we go. If it's choking you with your own clothing, then move. All right, arms down, and we'll go back into that twist just with our head supported this way. So just keep your head against the ball as you twist your knees to one side. Maybe the legs go down a little farther. Breathe in, breathe out for a moment. And then let's come through center and go to the other side. Just let the top leg be super heavy. And again. How much can you yield your weight to the floor? Surrender yourself over as you go side to side. Sometimes we arrive there, but we're still kind of holding everything up. So I like to see, like, can I actually drop it down and then pull back up? Let's do one more each side. It really is starting to feel like I'm literally teaching in a jungle, like one part urban jungle with the bricks and the architectural glass, and then the other part actual jungle with the stuff. I'm not mad about it. Go ahead and take the ball out. What would you use this? I can't see that because it's behind a heart, but I'll see it with the next one. All right, now let's go ahead and take your belt, your strap, whatever you have, and you'll go ahead and put it on your foot, and we're just gonna keep it up. If you've got a TheraBand, you can work with the TheraBand, completely fine. We're gonna push the ball of the foot up and then flex it all the way back for a calf stretch. Press it up. As you look at your foot while you're pushing and pulling, notice your two ankle bones. There's one on the inside and the outside. They're part of this structure that almost acts like a little hinge joint, more or less. Can you send your second and third toes right between the two bones? So as you're flexing back, can you aim those second and third toes right for the center here and make sure that the two ankle bones are lined up on either side? Good. One more time. That's it. All right, so now we're gonna pause here, take a breath, and as you exhale, just gently pull the leg towards you. And then let's inhale and release. Now, as you pull your leg towards you, think of tightening up the muscles on the front of the leg. That will help these muscles get a little signal of support, so they might be able to release a little bit more. Maybe. Oh, got it, Tracy, okay, yeah. You remind me of my husband. You must be voice texting. Sometimes he sends messages to me and I was like, you gotta use your fingers, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. But sometimes it's a matter of the predictive text too, right? Good. All right, we're gonna do one more to fold back and then pull it in so that you are at a working position. This means that, you know, on the scale we use of 1 to 10, maybe you're around a 5 or a 6. You're not sweating, you can still hold a conversation, you don't feel like you're suffering or struggling. This is a place you can stay at, okay? And then we're gonna slide your opposite leg as long as you can. If that means all the way straight, wonderful. And so when I straightened that leg, it kind of pulled my other leg out of my range, which is okay. Now I know where my working position is. So if you've got your right leg like me, go ahead and put both sides of your strap into your left hand, and we're just gonna guide that leg over. Again, like right now, my second and third toes are still in the line with the center of my ankle joint. My knee's still pointing in that same direction. I'm just kind of drawing what ends up being a horizontal line from where I'm at right now. Just a little bit across. Some of us are gonna feel this in the outer calf. Some of us are gonna feel it in the outer thigh. some of us in the outer hip, depending on how far across you go. Let's do a couple more. And what we're doing right now is we're searching for our end range, the space we want to work at in our stretch. So again, not the one where we're suffering or struggling, the one where we feel like, okay, this is something I can sustain. I've got support. I feel okay being here. All right, so let's find that place. Firstly, we're going to stay with the leg on this line and just do a little bend. And then as you straighten, press your heel up and your hip down. So find that oppositional pull. Bending, and then stretching and straightening. And bending, stretching and straightening. Always checking in to make sure we've got some weight in the hip of the leg we're moving right now. Let's do one more as straight as you can, and then your final act is going to be to turn the sole of your foot over, if you're on the right leg, towards the left, and that should start to get the outer calf, shin, lower leg, maybe into your hip as well. And this is one where breathing definitely helps. Just finding your happy place. Release, recover your foot. Okay, let's bend that knee in. I'm going to take the strap around my ankle here, and then just give your left hand a little hold, and then take your right hand and let that knee open. Now you might be really happy here. If you can reach your foot, it's nice to just give yourself this stretch with your arms if the strap isn't necessary. Just trying to find that outer. And then we're going to bend your knee, and you can use that leg for support. Certainly this is a perfect way of beginning your stretch. If you'd like to add more intensity to it, you can loop through with your hands on the back of your hamstring. What I like to remind my clients of in this figure 4 stretch is that we just remember that our tailbone is heavy, that we're not tucking and creating tension in our spine and our shoulders and our neck. And then finally, if this is fine for you and you want to take it one step further, I don't know if I can today, you can always take your hands on top of your knee, and that's like yet another level up. Good morning, Heather. Happy you're here. Let's stay here for just a few breaths. Today we're holding our stretches for just about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how many stories I can tell during that time. And the intention is really to help us just fully sense maybe a tissue change, or at least a mental change and adjustment to what we're doing. If you're ready, you can release. I'm going to take my strap to the side for a moment. Take this leg, shake it out for a second, place the leg you worked down, and then we're going to twist in the opposite direction of the leg you just worked. And if you like, we'll take the bottom ankle foot and place it on top. And this one hopefully feels like a long stretch for your front, side, maybe even back of hip. I like to keep my shoulders grounded if possible, and then just let the natural weight of this leg drop on top. And then as an added bonus, you can reach your right arm up. If your left foot is on your right leg, then the right arm goes up. If not, you're gonna have to figure it out. And just breathing and looking for that oppositional length between your hand, your knee, your hips, your abdomen. Always looking for that sense of support. When I go into these twisty stretches, it's like I never want to feel like I'm hanging off the edge of a cliff or a building, like I'm fighting for my life within the stretch. I want to feel like it's a welcoming, spacious position that allows for some length to be experienced and maybe even some release. So sometimes even checking in, like, am I actively contracting and holding in this shape, and do I need to be at this point? And if you notice where you're feeling in the shape, like right now it's going around to my tight hip, it's like, can I experience this shape more from, let's say, my spine? What has to happen in order to feel more of a twist and less of a tug? Good, so we'll play with all that on the other side. Let's unhook the top one, pull your arm down, be gentle with yourself, reach your hips back to center. Especially if you're working with any like undue tension today, it's a really good idea to transition out of your stretches with some level of consideration for support through breath or through your weight. Before we go to the other side, just give a little hip lift up to the top. Let's lower down in a balanced way, and then let's take our foot into the other side. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're using a belt, a strap, or a TheraBand, not for this purpose. All right, remember, we're gonna start pointing and flexing, stretching our calves out. The TheraBand is nice because it does offer a little resistance, but you can give yourself resistance just by tugging down on your belt or strap and just kind of riding your arms up and down with it as needed. The resistance in a stretch reminds some of the muscles that help you either get into the stretch or support you while getting into the stretch. It reminds them that they have a job to do and they're not necessarily a passive participant. Good. Let's do one more point and flex. See if you can come into a deep flex, and then using the muscles on the front of your leg, your hips, your quads, maybe even your shins, we're going to come into that hamstring stretch and then release out of it. And do that a couple times. And again, we're just kind of searching here, looking for the space that feels like it's got the most possibility. I'm reading your comments at the same time. I feel it all. Yeah. So remember, let's find a working position and then let's lengthen the other leg down. We're going to take both straps into our right hand now, if you're on the left leg, and we're going to reach it across. Colleen, you made me so happy on the sound. You know I've been obsessing about it. And unfortunately, just like the quality does matter to me, but there's so many things that are outside of my control when it comes to live streaming, especially like how it lands on your end. So if you've been with me for a while, you know it's been a journey, but thanks for sticking it out. The other piece that I wanted to mention about tightness is that sometimes tension can be a sign of either underuse, overuse, or lack of hydration, amongst other things. There's so many reasons why muscles get tight. Let's find our working position and stay, and then we're gonna add the little bend and stretch. So something that's become really important for me, I've started to supplement with a electrolyte supplement. It's not great. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not the best thing ever. But the reason is I drink so much water, but I feel like I'm losing some of the nutrients maybe by drinking so much water, because I feel consistently thirsty, which is, you know, a thing, but also through adding electrolytes, I'm kind of replenishing some of those things that I might be flushing out. So sometimes water isn't always better. And what I mean by that is like, you know, flushing your system out without replenishing some of your nutrients, vitamins, minerals, those things, that doesn't always work for us. Let's hold here for a moment. Turn your sole of your foot towards the right side if you're using the left foot. For me, I'm turning it towards the plant, and we're getting that stretch along the outer side. So I hope I'm explaining this well enough. I'm very tight too. So it's the difference between helping your body circulate and lubricate and be mobile in your tissues and like flooding your body with too much. And so, you know, what's the one thing we know about health and well-being? that human beings tend to think, well, if a little is great, then a lot must be really good, and that's not always the case. So, especially if you're somebody who needs those extra electrolytes. All right, come back to center, bend your knee, and then you can take your strap around, oopsie, your ankle and come into your figure 4, or if you don't need the strap, you can use your, I like to take my hand around my foot and just give a little gentle push in both directions. How do you find out? Yeah. It's hard, right? Like, I think in general, hydration, there's this, metric that is basically half your body weight in ounces per day, and it's a general guideline. Let's go ahead and bend the other knee up. But I think when you pay attention to your body, when you're experiencing chronic tension that doesn't seem to go away no matter how much water you're drinking, if you want to lace your hands behind, or you feel like consistently fatigued, or like you never get a real restful sleep, then all of those things are really a chance to check in with your doctor, honestly, for some blood work and just kind of get a baseline of what's going on, because sometimes those general complete blood counts can really tell a good story. People always say that the true story of your health often shows up in blood work, but sometimes you have to find the right blood tests to get that true story. If you want to come on top with me, come on top. If you have a doctor who's willing to test your vitamin levels, things like B and D can be contributing factors to the ways that your muscles are recovering. If you test your magnesium levels, don't take magnesium regularly, or you find yourself very, very sore, sometimes you have to take a little bit of inventory. So when I have a suspicion that something's going on in my body, the first thing that I do is I start to log what's going on, because what's actually going on and what our perception of what's going on can be two different things. Let's take our twist over to the side, and then we'll add the ankle on top if you like. So for example, a couple weeks ago, I was having 20 to 30 hot flashes a day. And I can say that because I logged those hot flashes, because I wanted to be able to say to my doctor definitively, this is what's going on, this is when it's going on, this is, the contributing factors to what's going on, if there were any. In my case, there weren't. They were just coming on fast and furious. And then I was able to say, here's what I think is happening. So the other piece is, an electrolyte supplement is relatively harmless. Sometimes you can just play with it, and if you feel better when you take it, then there's probably a good indication that maybe you needed some extra electrolytes, Health can be super duper complicated, but also I think that ability to take inventory and notice what you're feeling is usually your best avenue to asking for the support you need. So release, come back in, take the ball or the pillow, put it in between your legs, and because we've done a little low back stretching, just give yourself a little squeeze here. Sometimes that can create a little adjustment in your pelvis. Lift your hips up to the top. Other things about dehydration is if you look at your hands and you see that your fingers are like puckery, wrinkly, like your skin tends to be dry, your mouth tends to be dry, white film on your tongue, things like that. Those are good indications, but again, like the body is such a complex and simple symptom. Sometimes you just need to use lotion or not wash with astringent sorts of soaps. Let's roll ourselves up. Wow, to the top. Oh, okay. Yeah. We all are different, and I think the thing that's great about the internet and social media is that it's given us this really awesome vehicle for receiving information, but sometimes that information is really one size fits all, so it does help for us to be aware of what we're experiencing. And we go back to, those of you who took the NeuroTune program, a lot of it comes back to stress, right? So let's reach up, and we're gonna take a side bend over. We're just gonna move in and out of this side bend a few times, watching our time. We're almost ready for our little meditation. But I mean this in the least facetious way possible, but it's like, take the signals that your body is offering to you seriously and be curious about them. So that's on every level, whether it's a mental health, you know, all of our fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all of those responses are serious. Then we got to be curious about, like, hey, am I really in danger, or do I just perceive myself to be in danger right now? What's actually happening? Hold here and rotate all the way over. I want you to put your fingertips as close to the ground as you can. Your chest is facing your left thigh, or your right thigh if you're mirroring me. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Then come out to the side, come all the way back up. Let's take our left leg and flip it over. If you need to come up on a block or a pillow for your hips, you can. And then we're just gonna press that hip open and then bring it all the way back down, reaching through your sitting bone to ground down into the floor. Pressing open and pulling down. Good. Couple more like this. I'm just trying to get some good motion in that hip joint. Good. Feels like we lost some music. I'm going to check in a second. Let's come up and over. We're going to take our hands down to the ground and then just take a stretch over that front leg. Let's stay here for a moment and breathe. Check our music. There we go. We're just about at our 30-minute mark. We're going to do the other side, and then we'll take a couple minutes just for some deep breath. Good. Come on up. Let's take this left leg, swing it around. Land it either in front of your knee, or if you can bring it across your knee, that's okay too. We're going to hug that knee in real close and look for that stretch again, and then just rotate around. Now there is an option to kind of pretzel this if you want to. We reach up through the arm, we take the elbow on the opposite side of the knee, and then we press into the twist so you get a little bit more across your back. In this stretch, we're always looking for space and length, reaching down through the sits bones, reaching up through your crown of your head. Just looking for any opportunity for more stretch in a way that feels really good. We'll release. Wah, come back, cross your other leg in front, side bend over. Thank you, Colleen. Pull it all the way up. Let's do a couple like this. Future topics, stretches. Yeah, nerve flossing, excellent. And I guess what I'm asking, I'm thinking about some like talking head topics of conversation, because I know it's time to expand out. Joy has given me a little nudge to start talking more about general health. Let's do one more, reaching all the way over. Rotate. And breathe. let's come back to our side bend and come all the way up. Fold our knee back. Let's get some hip motion over here. Yeah. So I think, you know, there's this fine line between like fixing our bodies and also supporting our bodies. And I find personally, if I get stuck in a fix-it mindset, I usually end up frustrated all the time. But when I get into a supportive mindset, there's more small wins that are available. So, you know, as somebody who struggles with joint pain and arthritis and still shows up here doing the movement, I don't always want to, in all honesty. Let's come all the way over. Let's reach ourselves over and just take a couple breaths here. I don't always want to, but I know that I know there'll be something that feels good, and I tend to put a little more stock into the things that feel good, because the points of pain and discomfort, they're just going to be there. And my goal is to really work on this ladder of wellness, which is when I'm feeling a certain way, I think about what I might be able to do to climb one rung higher. So if I'm having, let's come up, if I'm having a kind of high inflammation day, bring your leg across if you like. All right, this is our last little twist. So coming in here or putting your elbow around. Yeah, so if let's say I'm having a big inflammatory day and it feels kind of unfortunate, or I don't know, painful is the word I want to say. If that's happening, then I think about, okay, what is something that I know I can do that helps me feel a little better? So I'm just climbing one rung higher. I'm not trying to eradicate the inflammation in one day, because chances are there's more than one day's activities or behaviors or lack of behaviors that brought this to where I am today. So it's that idea of thinking one rung higher, release. So, you know, maybe it's having a good drink of water, maybe it's meditating a little bit, maybe it could be a whole myriad of things, right? So I think that taking those baby steps in those small increments can really be something that is super useful for you. Good. Talking topics would be aging and how to embrace our changes. Yeah, especially in a world that prioritizes youth, right? So it's, you know, I've got some opinions on that, and I've definitely got some strategies. So I think that's a great place. So if you're ready, willing, and able to be with me for just 2 more minutes, we're just going to be here with a brief breathing exercise. So I'll ask you to find your comfort wherever that is for you. Sit however you need to sit. If you'd like to lay down, that's okay too. And then I'm going to close my eyes today. If you'd like to just cast your eyes downward or soften your gaze, that's a-okay. Again, whatever is the most comfortable for you. And then just allow your body to arrive as it just figures out its way towards a little more equilibrium, a little less effort in terms of the seated position. And then let's just begin to tune into our breath. And all that means is just notice your breath. Just become an observer. No need to do more than is absolutely necessary right now. Inhalation, allow your body to fill up with air, being replenished, creating space. With each exhalation, allow yourself to relax a little bit and release. from here, we're going to engage in a breath called the 81-second breath. So it's just a quick breathing exercise to help us reset. We're going to take an inhale. We'll pause for a count of 1, and then we'll exhale. And on each subsequent breath, we'll add a little extra pause. So we'll go pause for 1, we'll pause for 2, and then exhale. We'll breathe in, pause for 3, and then exhale, and so on until we get to 6, and then we'll make our way down. So let's just take a breath for nothing. Breathing in all your air and then fully exhaling, letting it all go. When you're ready, breathe in for 1, hold for 1, breathe out for 1. Breathe in for 1, hold for 1, 2, and out. Breathe in, pause for 3, 2, 1, and breathe out. Breathe in, pause for 4, 3, 2, 1, and breathe out. Breathe in, pause 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, pause 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and breathe out. Breathe in, pause 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, pause 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, pause 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, pause 3, 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, pause 2, 1, breathe out. Breathe in, hold for 1, breathe out. And then just return to breathing normally. We'll start to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Bring some motion into your spine. If you're ready, blink your eyes open. Take your time. That's a really nice reset breath that can help just calm your nervous system a little. It gives you some focal points on breathing and something to do versus sitting there and waiting for the miracle to happen. And it's also really wonderful for just giving yourself a quick break throughout the day. So it's literally under a minute and a half, and it's something that we can all do. So my suggestion would be to try to just build in a few breathing breaks into your day, whether it's a couple of breaths just to quiet your mind or this particular exercise, then do what you need to do. Excellent work today, everybody. We're gonna make our way up to wherever. I'm gonna make my way up to standing so I can press the button if you are gonna make your way up to standing to press your own buttons. Wonderful for you. I want to thank you for being here today. I will see you next week. Stay tuned for classes. They are up. There's rebounding on Tuesday, and I believe we're into Swiss ball next week, so that should be a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Stream some classes over the weekend. Share with your friends. We're so close, so close, so close. I think we're at the 2,900 mark. It's a slow climb, but we will make it. And I see you on your topics. If there are other topics that you want me to touch on in terms of lecture and little chats, please let me know in the comments or shoot me an email, coachjz@jennazaffino.com. I'll look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for being here.